Jordan's Airwaves with Jim Rose. Please welcome Jim Rose and Michael Jordan.
You know, I think we could probably do this this love-in for another half hour, and I don't think the audience would mind, or the folks at home wouldn't mind either, would you? Oh, goodness. Welcome, everybody, to Michael Jordan's Airwaves. I'm Jim Rose, and we're going to have so much fun tonight, and we're going to have so much fun during the season because this man and his teammates of Chicago Bulls players are going to get these Bulls one step further than they did last year. I know I'm putting some pressure on you.
We got enough pressure already.
Oh. You know, one of the things that I'm very concerned about is your health. You've played 6 years. One of them you were injured and didn't get to play, but in reality, you really have played 8 NBA seasons in times of minutes and whatever. Last year, you had a little problem with a groin injury, little hits here and there. And of course, in Buffalo against Miami on Thursday night, you went down a little bit and you scared the heck out of all of us.
Well, you forget that. I scared myself at the same time. I mean, you know, the injuries doesn't bother me as much. You know, I know that at some point in time I'm going to have to give up the game. So I can't go and play the game scared. You know, I got to play it, relax, enjoy the game, and if it happens, it happens. I'm faced with it, and you know, if I can't play the game of basketball today, then I can be really grateful that I played as long as I played, and I'm very happy for it.
Well, we're not going to worry about that right now because we want this man to give Chicago what it deserves, and that is an NBA championship. You know, when we talk about the Bulls and their progression over the last couple of years, 3 years ago they finally made the playoffs. 2 years ago you made it to the semifinals. Last year you made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Championships. In fact, came 96 minutes away from winning.
We're getting close. We're getting closer. I think that's what I have to be most appreciative about the front office. We have made progress in my years here. A lot of people will get disappointed and discouraged, but I'm not. You know, I feel that we're progressing each year, and the players around me are starting to mature and get better and better, which, you know, is going to make us a better ball club.
Well, you know, the big news following the Bulls' great showing in the playoffs was the firing of head coach Doug Collins. Now, it caught sports fans and the basketball community by surprise, but that's behind us now as we look forward to the regular season, which begins for the Bulls next Friday. Now, as most fans know by now, the Bulls are led this season by their new head coach, Phil Jackson.
Coach Jackson is encouraging a different kind of game this season, a less rigid, more open playing style that he hopes will move this team forward.
We tried to put the skeleton out there of what we are going to be as a beast, and we'll hope to put the meat on it as this exhibition season begins and the games start going along. We can start filling that thing out a little bit and maybe giving the guys a total picture of what we are as a ball club.
Still unresolved is the question of how much time Michael Jordan will play at the point versus the shooting guard position.
Have you made up your mind what that situation is going to be like for Michael and or who would be the point guard?
No, that decision's not made. We really think that we're going to have that filled by some people. Right now, the person that's playing the best in that position is John Paxson. But as far as having a push man, a guy that run the ball up the floor, a guy that start directing the offense from the backcourt, things like that, I just soon not have Michael to be there, and he just soon not be there.
Coach Jackson says he's pleased with starting center Bill Cartwright's performance in the playoffs last season, and he says he expects great things from the low post game this year.
Bill is much more comfortable with the ball players we have. Last year, obviously, was an adjustment period of time. Guys were learning how to play with the post, learning how to feed the post, learning how to feed Bill Cartwright. I think our focus is good. I think Bill's comfortable there, and these guys know when he's set up and when to feed him, and it's coming along real well.
And finally, I asked Coach Jackson what it feels like to be a brand new head coach.
It's wonderful. You know, the players have been intense. The level of awareness, concentration, receptivity has been very good, and we're very comfortable with that.
Phil Jackson, the new head coach of the Chicago Bulls. the differences between Phil Jackson and Doug Collins are almost like night and day. Now, when Doug was here, and I still feel this way, he's one of the better basketball minds in the country. But the differences are night and day.
Well, I think in terms of basketball, they both have very similar minds. I mean, they know the fundamentals of the game, defense, offense, but their personalities tend to change a little bit. You know, Phil is more behind the scenes, you know, don't want to be noticed, you know, once the players out here. And Doug does too, but he's more outgoing, he's more emotional. You can tell, I mean, look at Doug when he was coaching. He would sweat a lot more. He's more intense in the game. PJ sits back and, you know, it looked like nothing bothers him, man.
Yeah.
That's just the way their personality fits.
You know, I think we got a little inclination as to how Phil Jackson could run an NBA team last year. I think it was December of last year when Milwaukee, when Doug got kicked out of a game and then Phil led you guys to victory.
Well, what Phil did, I mean, Phil knew we knew the plays. We knew we'd been going through practices, and all he said was, get out there and play. You know, not so much structural stuff, not so much instructions. He said, play the basketball game like you play. You played it for your whole lives. Now go out and play together, and that's his attitude. He hadn't put in a lot of plays this season. He just said, here, pass the ball and play basketball, and that's how it's been played.
All right, Michael, we'll talk more about the rest of the team, and of course we'll take our questions from our studio audience when we come back on Michael Jordan's Airwaves. Stay with us.
Michael Jordan's Airwaves with Jim Rose is brought to you in part by Isuzu, the first car builders of Japan.
We have a very enthusiastic studio audience. And before we get to some of your questions, I got two questions for you. One, this team improved itself so well in the draft. And two, about the veterans. You've got guys coming back like Bill Cartwright, who had a year under his belt now with the Chicago Bulls. And the one thing I was concerned about was the guard getting the ball down low to Bill in the post. Last year they had a few problems with it. In training camp, he looked real good.
Well, you got to understand Bill. Bill is the type of person that is not as mobile as you may think. I mean, he has trouble catching the ball on the move. So that's something that we had to learn about Bill in the year that we played with him. I think now we understand that a lot better. And when you're talking about the veterans and the rookies, I think most of our help is going to come from our veterans. A lot of people put it on the rookies, but you know, the rookies going to have a time to adjust, traveling, getting up at 6:30 to travel. It's a lot of little things that's going to tire them out. So they got to learn the first half of the season, and hopefully the second half of the season they can contribute. But you know, most of the pressure, most of the help is going to come from our veterans. They should have the time to mature. I'm talking about Horace Grant, Scottie Pippen, Paxson, Craig Hodges, Charles Davis. These are the guys, the nucleus of our team that we expect productivity from. And the rookies, if they can chip in the early part of the season, that's going to be a big help for us. But most of our offense and our defense and our leadership is going to come from the veterans.
Absolutely. Okay, who's got a question for Michael Jordan? Raise your hand. Everybody, it seems, huh? Nobody wants to come on television. Come on over here, sir. Stand up. Your name and your question for Mike.
Ryan Clather.
And your question?
Would he answer a non-basketball question? A golf question, Michael.
I'm pretty sure. I knew it was going to be golf.
I know you're an avid golfer, and your desire is after you finish playing basketball to take up maybe pro golf. What's your opinion of should the ping club be outlawed or not?
You know, that's hard to answer, you know. But that's all right. You know, I understand that modern technology is always going to improve. And that's the same thing with the Air Jordan shoe. Each year it comes out better and better. You know.
That's right. And you've got a model coming out in January. It's supposed to be a little better technologically advanced, isn't it?
But with the ping clubs, you know, I don't understand the full argument. They said that it's a correctional club and it's illegal. Well, I hit pings and I hit Wilsons, and you know, I like hitting Wilsons a little bit better because when you hit the true spot, you can feel a lot better. But with pings, it's a little bit different. It really helps. It corrects your golf swing. But I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, modern technology is going to take over the world anyway, so why complain?
Well, at least in one thing we know, modern technology can never create another Michael Jordan, that's for sure. No question about it. Sir, your name and your question for Michael.
My name is Michael Stewart. I got a question for Michael. About your durability, a lot of people complain about how much of your game that you've been They've been relying on you and so forth. With the draft this year, with B.J. Armstrong with the assists now, with limited time, you know, of playing, being a rookie, and maybe Stacey King being able to get some more block shots and a lot more rebounds, how do you feel that's going to improve you? I mean, you're going to be a lot more durable, do you feel, for Chicago?
Well, I think what people are starting to forget that when I play basketball, you know, I don't play conservatively. I play all out. And, you know, my main objective now, as I see it with the Bulls, is more or less like a utility man. You know, wherever the team needs me to produce, then certainly I'm willing to do that because I feel that I'm the leader of the ball club. So I can't say that I'm going to try to play and conserve 28 minutes so that by the end of the season, I'm going to be more rested. You know, I'm all out. And when you see it 110%. If I give out at the end of the season, then I give out at the end of the season. I'm sorry, but you know, I never played very conservatively.
In that regard, will Coach Jackson, perhaps now that they've got personnel who could almost carry the load, give you rests in certain spots so that you will have the afterburners ready for that fourth period?
Well, I think from a coach's standpoint, that's what he has to do. You have to pick and choose when he needs a certain player out there to perform. I mean, that's going to be a tough job because within our game, you know, the time of actually pulling away or playing a closer game is so minimal. And you got to be willing to accept some, and hopefully that it can turn over to what you choose it to be down the stretch. It's a tough position for any coach, and every coach that we've had in Chicago has been dealing with how to cut my time down. And it's very tough because I want to play.
Your name and your question for Michael.
I'm Brad Spears. And do you personally think that Scottie Pippen is heading for superstardom in the NBA right now?
Certainly. I really think Scottie Pippen has... There's a lot of talent. You know, Scottie is a late bloomer, as we call it in the NBA, or in basketball. A late bloomer being that he doesn't really start to perform his athletics skills until later in his years. I mean, you got a lot of kids who start playing at the age of 6 or 7, and I was the same case. I didn't start playing basketball or progress as a basketball player until I was in the 11th and 12th grade, and that's a late bloomer. He's starting to do that. He always have been kind of overshadowed, but not going to a Division I school. But yeah, he has a lot of ability, and he's starting to come into his own right now.
I'll tell you, one of the best thrills is to see the fast break working with Michael and Scottie running it down the court. Nobody on the planet can stop that fast break, I assure you. Stand up, sir, your question, your name and your question.
Yeah, my name is Derek Davis. I want to know, you brought up the fact that you want to conserve yourself more and have more energy. What I wanted to know was, I noticed last year during the playoffs that it pretty much came down to you coming in and pretty much winning the game. And I wondered if if the team was going to change the strategy this year and offload some of that pressure onto more, you know, whether it be some of the rookies or more of the veterans.
You know, our main objective as the Chicago Bulls, and the way that the teams play us in the playoffs, they play us to stop one individual, which is me. Detroit's their main defense is to send 3 and 4 guys at me to make everyone else on our team hurt them. We know that, and as a team, we have to mature and accept that responsibility. If we're ever going to achieve, then that's the way we're going to have to face things, because the way that the NBA is playing us now is that we got to stop Michael Jordan. If we stop Michael Jordan, then we stop the Bulls, which is not true. I mean, we got quality basketball players on our team. I think what we have to instill in those guys is the confidence that they can play on this level. They can score. They can average 20 points if they choose to. And the team's going to play us that way until we prove ourselves. And this could be the year to prove ourselves.
And that's what the words that I've been trying to hear all during the training camp. We'll be back with more on Michael Jordan's Airwaves right after this. You stay with us. One of the best audiences I've ever seen. No question about it. All right, let's take some more questions from the folks in our audience. Let's get a lady on camera here. Your name, and stand up. Your name and your question for Michael.
Maria Stimson from Chicago. Michael, it was my understanding that you were slated to appear in a movie about inner-city basketball based on the book Heaven is a Playground by Rick Tellender. Can you tell us what exactly is the status of that movie, and will we see you on the silver screen?
Yeah, I was supposed to do that movie this past summer, but we never really could get my dates down to where I can actually go and film my part. I'm going to do it next summer, and it is going to happen. I've been taking a few acting lessons, which is pretty different because, you know, in acting you got to pull out certain emotions at certain times, and it's pretty difficult, but it's fun. I mean, you learn a lot about yourself. But I'm looking forward to the movie. You know, it's about street basketball, as you know, and we all have been in street basketball, and I'm looking forward to the situation itself.
I know myself. I've tried street basketball many times, and they just said, pick the microphone back up. Okay, young lady, your name and your question for Michael.
My name is Meredith Ahern, and why do you like to play basketball?
All right.
It's the only game I could play with a lot of effectiveness, I guess. I started playing baseball when I was about 6 years old, and I started to grow, and I was growing out of all my clothes, so my mother said, try basketball. So I started playing basketball when I was 12, and from that point on, I loved the game.
I'll tell you, outside his parents' home in Wilmington, North Carolina, there's a dirt court. I visited there. You should see the rims. They're all down from Michael and his brother Larry slam dunking so much. Well, you know, the other big story since the close of last season is the Bulls' excellent college draft. Now, with 3 first-round picks, the Bulls have added needed bench strength down the middle with Stacey King and Jeff Sanders, and also in the backcourt with B.J. Armstrong of Iowa. At 6'2" and 170 pounds, B.J. is probably the point guard of the future for the Chicago Bulls. It's a long way from college in Iowa to the NBA, but this young man with the face of a teenager figures the big leagues is the place to be. B.J., what do you think of playing at the pro level as opposed to the college game?
The level of competition is unbelievable, and I'm learning a lot, especially from the veteran players and the coaches, and I'm just taking it one day at a time, and it's working out really well for me.
In years past, the Bulls have had a problem with the guard trying to get the ball to the low post center, but Bill Cartwright sort of smiles when I mention your name because you're the guy that can get the ball to him. How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't know about that. You know, it's going to take some time, some adjustments that I'll have to make, but I just hope it to be a positive, make a positive contribution to the team, and just work as hard as I possibly can. How far that'll take us, no one knows.
The Bulls also expect great things from rookie Stacey King, the #1 draft choice. He was the 1989 Big 8 Player of the Year and was the leading scorer in the NCAA tournament in 1988. Stacey, you're a young man that doesn't mince his words at all. And there's an old saying in boxing, once you've talked that talk, now you have to walk that walk.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I try to go out and play hard every time, and I think it's very important to believe in what you can do and have a lot of confidence in what you can do, and I have that. You know, playing at Oklahoma, we're taught to have a lot of confidence in your ability, and right now it's a learning experience, but I have a lot of confidence in my ability, and in the end, I'm going to be all right.
Another rookie who figures to make the team is the Bulls' 3rd pick in the draft, 6'9" Jeff Sanders, a forward out of Georgia Southern. Unfortunately, he suffered a stress fracture in his foot during preseason workouts. He won't see any court action until sometime in November. Jeff Sanders, B.J. Armstrong, and Stacey King, obviously they make the nucleus up of a very good rookie core and a team that has drafted very well like these Chicago Bulls. What a great draft.
It was. I mean, I think what it's going to add to our team is, as you said earlier, is guys coming off the bench who can certainly make contributions to the team. And these guys are good guys. They work hard in practice. And they know they're faced with a lot of challenges. Being in Chicago, I mean, the expectations are way up here, and we already told them that. And the best way to get up here is set your own expectations and strive to reach those first.
Okay, let's get another question. And your name?
Donna Kleinman. Any question? I kind of have just, well, it's kind of 2 parts. Just this year, you know, everybody seems to be a little skeptical. They always say, not me, but they say that the Bulls, they say the Bulls may be just 1 player short of an NBA championship. I want to know what you think, and if you think you're going to be there, which you probably do, and who's going to be there with you.
Well, I think what you see now is all predictions, and I tried predicting last year, and that doesn't work. You know, everybody's got their own opinion, which is the way it is. But as a team, a young team of our caliber, it's great when people don't expect us to win because it takes the pressure off of us. Like last year, we surpassed everybody's expectations last year, and you know this year, you know they're going to expect us to go further. Ourselves, we just want to get there and then try to take it as far as we can. But I believe we got a good opportunity to go all the way. And who's going to be there with us? The Lakers, who I think people are going to kind of overlook because they lost Kareem. You got to realize Kareem didn't play that much last year, and yet they were still there. You know, San Antonio's got 3 good rookies coming in from David Robinson, and Sean Elliott, Willie Anderson from last year. You know, they're going to be a surprise team of the West, and you know, Detroit certainly is going to challenge us, as I would say, in the Central Division. And Boston, don't count Boston out. Larry Bird's back, and he's determined.
We'll get into more of that with other teams from around the NBA right after this on Michael Jordan's Airwaves. Stay with us.
If Bo knows football and Michael knows basketball, wait till you see Air Jordan on bowling, of all sports. Last week, the Bulls had a little bowling party, and of course, Michael Jordan had to show us his expertise with one shot between the legs there, Michael. Now that's what I call Michael Jordan, everybody, and Michael Jordan's Airwaves. Thank you, my friend. We'll see you all again next week. Bye-bye, everybody.